Hello, welcome back. This is Jeff Byers. I'm your instructor for ANI 150, and this is Module 8, Texturing, Rendering, and Presenting Your Low Poly Sci-Fi Crates. Now, this will be your large and small crate, and right now we're going to be going through the overview. So this is Module 8, Part 3. In this module, you're going to learn some advanced techniques in UV mapping. You will also learn how to texture the small and large sci-fi crates. You'll actually be UV mapping them, and you did that in the food can and the dagger and the battle axe, but now you're going to be doing it for a larger object. And you guys can read the objectives and the course assignment. Again, the student will lay out UDEM tile UVs for the low poly, large, and small sci-fi crates in an appropriate and efficient manner following the lesson instruction videos that are provided in this course. The student will texture the low poly, large, and small crate using Substance Painter and export the PBR textures into Maya following the lesson instruction videos that are provided. And you'll be using the AI standard surface Arnold material and apply them to the UDEM tiles that you created in Substance Painter. You're going to light, render, present the large and small sci-fi assets, creating a professional presentation. Okay, we all know the software used, the user interface, and the shortcut keys. We talk about lesson content is basic UV mapping techniques if you need a refresher on PBR texturing, and what are UDEM tiles. These are all just refresher. You guys can go past these, just ignore those. Basic lighting, you always need to understand the three-point lighting technique used with the Arnold dome. So understanding these will give you correct shadows and some highlights in the back and really set your object off. Plus HDRI lighting, high dynamic range imaging will be used with the dome like we did with the food can and we did with the dagger and the battle axe. You can either do interior or exterior lighting. Interior lighting is what we had for the food can, and exterior lighting is what we had for the dagger and the battle axe. Okay, you have that choice how you want it to look, so make sure you understand the course assignment which I just went through. One of the things you need to understand is that we're going to be UV mapping not only the large but the small sci-fi crate. Now earlier I've got these videos are early videos and was only over one crate. That's because I was creating a video for the summer, and the summer is condensed. So we are going to be doing 2 crates, but when I do the video it's only on that one. But the other crate, the smaller crate, is exactly the same type of UV mapping, exactly the same. So you'll watch this, you'll unwrap the larger crate, and then you'll go to the smaller crate and unwrap that. With that said, you'll watch those videos, and when you're finished, I kind of remind you that now it's time to unwrap the small sci-fi crate. So you can go right back to the top and watch how I unwrap the larger and use that workflow for the smaller crate. Okay. With that said, now we're going to get into Substance Painter. Again, I have a notation here. So when this video was created, Substance Painter 2018, now we're using Substance Painter 2020, and it has changed. And the import and texture export user interface has changed. So you'll have to make adjustments when watching this. And those adjustments would be to, when you import your object into Substance Painter, you will have to watch those Module 5 Substance Painter videos. So go back to Module 5 and see how if you forgot how to bring in the dagger and the battle axe. So you'll be doing the same exact thing with your sci-fi crate, your large sci-fi crate and your small sci-fi crate. So you'll have to bring in one at a time. So you'll probably do your large sci-fi crate first, and you'll have to import it the same way as I did with Module 5. You can watch those videos. If for some reason you can't see them anymore, let me know, and I will make sure that I post them on here. In fact, I might just do that anyway, hopefully Tuesday or Wednesday. Get those posted, or you can go back to Module 5 and watch those videos. What you're looking for is how to import the object, your large sci-fi crate, and how to then bake the low poly. Now remember that you have to triangulate the low poly, and that has to be UV mapped. So triangulate and UV map that low poly, and you'll save it out as low poly. And then you'll use the Mudbox model, which is really high resolution from Mudbox. When you exported your OBJ from Mudbox, you'll be using that in the baking process. Okay, so when you go through Module 5, you'll need to keep watching and go through the baking process of the high and the low. Now, another thing I got to keep reminding you guys is that the low poly model and the high poly model need to be in the same space. They need to be on top of each other. Okay, so the low poly and the high poly is going to be on the inside of the low poly. It's got to be occupying the same space. That's what I mean by occupying the same space. It means it's got to be right over top of the other. So that's what I mean by occupying the same space. If you hear that terminology, it's in the same spot. Okay, 0, in Maya. Okay, in the X, Y, and Z axes. So they're on top of each other. Okay, if your baking doesn't work properly, it's probably because you have moved either your low poly or high poly away from each other. Okay, so make sure you keep that in mind when you're baking maps. But you'll have to watch the baking process, because it has changed between 2018, when I made this video here, and all the rest of these videos. Okay, nothing has changed through painting and adding textures, though. As you move on, once you get the baking done, okay, once you get the baking done, which you'll have to watch. Okay, you'll have to watch the Module 5 Substance Painter videos and get through the baking process. Once you get through the baking process, you can watch these videos verbatim, because there's no differences. Okay, you're just going to have to find your own textures. You can create your own textures, and go through this process will be fairly easy. And going back into Maya and adding those materials to Maya is fairly easy as well. Okay, so just keep that in mind. You will not have to go through the baking process of the smaller prop, like the hinges and all that other stuff. You won't have to go through that process. There's a different process. You can watch that. If you have questions, you can always email me at jbyers3@jcc.edu. Again, please remember that I keep, I have these notes, and you need to, because I only take you through this process. I want you to show me that you can create a background, just like what you did with the battle axe and the dagger. I want you to do that on your own. So I want you to take a floor plane and some other planes and create a background for it. UV map it, bring it into Substance Painter, and add a texture. Now I would do this separately. Like I would do the floor first, and then I would do the walls, like one wall and one floor. And the floor will have a different texture, and the walls will have a different texture. You can take this wall texture and duplicate it over and create a nice little scene. Okay, it's fairly simple. I want you to do that on your own. Again, if you run into any issues or problems, please email me at jbyers3@jcc.edu. You're at a point now where I'm giving you more artistic freedom to create your own backgrounds and turn in a professional looking render. Okay? Alright, I've only taken you this far, but I want you to go farther. And then, of course, it's time to do your small sci-fi crate, get all that done too as well, and those renders. And then the rubric is you'll be turning in and completing and texturing and detailing your low poly and high poly, and you're going to be giving me an MB, FBX, and OBJ file. You're going to turn in all textures of the large and small sci-fi crate, which will be many. You'll have quite a few of those. And you'll be turning those in as a JPEG, a PNG or JPEG format. You'll be turning in 2 perspective front and back screenshots of the low poly and large and small sci-fi crate with textures on. You'll be turning in your front and back perspective renders of both of these crates. They can be together side by side if you want, or they can be separate. Your choice. Okay? And you also turn in a front and back perspective renders and a wireframe on. No textures. Okay, those are renders that we've done before. Okay, and that's worth 20 points. I'm going to be grading you on your UV packing of the large and small. And so make sure that you also include those raw UVs. Okay. What is a raw UV? A raw UV is what you've actually exported out directly from Maya, like I showed you in those videos, and they are basically black and white. Okay. If it's a JPEG, it'll be black background with white wireframe. Okay. You can double click on those and open them up, and you can see them. Okay. Those are separate, and those are the UDIM tiles. Okay. All right. So, and that is actually directly from module 7 as well. Okay. And so you can use this. You can use the same. You can use the same ones. You can go ahead and give me those same ones if you want to. That's fine. I don't think you've changed anything from then. Texturing. I'm going to be grading you on how realistically it looks. Does it reflect real life materials like metal, plastic, glass, and rubber? Does it show? Does it have a feeling of having wear and tear? Scratches and stuff. You can see in this object here that I've got that happening all over. I got a little rust on it. I'm showing a history. Basically, you want to show a history. As we move forward, we want to show wear and tear, and we want to show a little history that this object's been used as we move forward. So definitely want to have it on this one. We should have had it on the dagger and the battle axe, but now I'm really I want you to explore smart materials, and that's the reason why I had you go through all that work with detailing in Mudbox and exporting that out as an OBJ. So that will really help, and watch that video there with rendering. And you can see the rest: lighting and rendering, texturing. That's worth 10 points. Lighting and rendering is a big one. It's worth 10 points. Okay. Make sure you don't have overly dark or overly bright images. You kind of know what I'm looking for with lighting. This is our third turn-in instructions, and I'd really try not to change much with that, so you don't get confused. Please watch the turn-in instructions. Again, the turn-in instructions are old and only for one large crate, but you're going to be turning in 2, so make sure you get those in. So again, that the deliverables show what I need: a low poly, large, and small sci-fi crate. All the textures from the small and large sci-fi crate, and 2 perspective front screenshots. They can basically side by side in Maya. Okay, so screenshots side by side, front and back, with textures on. Now, I realize that in Maya, these may be the same. To see the textures, you may have to render. Okay, that's why I have renders here. So don't worry if your textures aren't on or showing. So don't worry, I'm not going to dock you on that. I understand. And basically, you can have textures off at that point. If they're not showing, you can have textures off. It's kind of it depends on your graphics card, so I can't really grade you on that. It's in the deliverables here. and I'm going to grade you on the renders, and that'll show the textures, right? So that you should be covered on that. Okay. So if you just have textures off and you're showing wireframe on shaded and just shaded, I'm okay with that, side by side. Okay. And that's a low poly. Okay. All right. All right. I'll accept those. So don't worry. I'll accept those. And the student will turn in a front and back perspective renders, fully textured, HD 1080, JPEG, and that's going to show me the texturing. If you don't have that in there, that could be a real problem, and you'll get grade, points taken off your grade for that. All right, and then your rendered perspective renders. These aren't screenshots; these are perspective renders of your wireframe. Okay, and I've had you do that for every module. This is nothing different again. Okay. The folder structure, you're gonna create a main folder called first and last name. Again, it's going to be NE150 module 8. You're gonna create a subfolder called scenes. You're going to create a subfolder called source images and screenshots. Okay. You're gonna place all of your textured low poly, sci poly create as an MB. You can basically have them side by side if you want to as an MB file, or you can give them to me separately, 2 separate files. I prefer them to be in the same scene and together side by side. That's fine. Okay. And then you're going to place all your textures, including your raw textures from Maya, so your UV map textures. That means your base color, and these are out of your Substance Painter at this point, this Substance Painter here, and then you're going to give me your raw UVs out of Maya. Okay, all those will go into the source images folder. Okay, all right. And if you have questions, again, jbyers3@jcc.edu. You can contact me there if you have any questions about this. And then we've got screenshots, and you're going to place your screenshots in here. Okay. And then, of course, your renders. You're going to place all your front and back view renders that you've created. Basically, you'll have 2 sets of those, one with full textures and then one with wireframe on. Okay, that's going to be of your low poly. Okay. With everything done. Okay, and then you'll take the subfolders, zip them up, and then upload them into the Module 8 folder. Okay, so basically this is an old turn-in video. It may be missing a few things in the turn-in video, so make sure you basically go by what I'm asking for here from this video. And if you need to come back to this video and watch this video again, please feel free to do that. If you have questions, let me know at jbyers3@jcc.edu. Again, this is an older video, a summertime video where we only turned in a large sci-fi container, and we have a full class, and we have the full 15 weeks instead of 8 weeks. So we're going to be turning in a large and a small. Okay, so don't let that confuse you with this. Okay, with this video. Okay. Keep that in mind. And I hope you guys have a great week. If you have questions or concerns or confused about anything, just let me know at jbyers3@jcc.edu, and look forward to hearing from you. And you guys have a great week. Thank you so much.